Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Rima Cole and Renee Welsh. We're getting ready for Healing Hearts Conference taking place thanks to Healing Hearts Ministries, taking place on May 18th at Akron Bible Church. Only $15 plus something to help people from Joanna House Ministries, women who are getting back on their feet. Whatever you can think of that you might need if you were getting back on your feet, they need it.
Yep.
So bring that along and your $15 and you're going to be blessed, and fed. Fed spiritually, fed physically.
Absolutely.
All the way around.
Lots of food.
Rima, I'm interested in how you began. What drew you into this ministry and got you started?
Okay. It's really, I'll put it this way. My sister passed away early from breast cancer. It was my only sister, and we were just buddies all the way around, best friend. We sang together as a singing group. We were called the Cole Sisters. We used to go around singing. So it was a big, devastating loss. And my niece was just a baby when she was pretty much diagnosed. So I was angry at her death.
Mm-hmm.
She was a believer. She born-again Christian. And we prayed, for God to let this cup pass from us, and allow her to raise her child. And that didn't happen.
It's hard to understand.
We were devastated, because we do read in his word, that, call unto me and I will answer prayer. All of the scriptures that lead toward healing. And that didn't take place. So my first book that I wrote, and I told some stories in that book about that occurrence and the things that happened. It's called Help, I'm Sick, I Have a Heart Condition. God began to start ministering to me so that I could release that pain. So in doing so, I was given tools to help me build myself out of that tunnel I was in. I could have went into deep depression. I'll tell you the story about my niece when she was a small little girl, and that was the only thing that kept me going was her in the first several months of my sister being with the Lord. My niece would stay with me as I prepare her and get her ready for school. So that gave me some responsibility and a sense of needing to help someone along the way. So one night, my niece, she crawls in my bed. She was just a little girl, and of course she didn't want to stay in her bed. I felt a touch. Now this, to show you my level of grief, and I want to let the listeners know that God knows right where you're at.
Wow.
And he knows when to come in and let you know that I'm here. I know what's going on. So during that night, I felt a touch on my shoulder, and I could hear a concert of voices praying over me.
You heard it?
I heard it.
Wow.
That's what woke me up.
Wow.
And I felt that touch. And I thought it was my niece. I thought she was moving around and she was waking.
Sure.
And so I turned my head. I looked in her direction. Her head was turned to the opposite wall. She was sound asleep. And I heard the voices. I heard the prayers, and it sounded like a cluster of, it almost sounded like children's voices as well, just praying. So God was letting me know, I'm here.
Yes.
And for him to, I look at it this way, physically allow his angels to touch me in the midst of my most deepest need and deepest pain. So to let the listeners know, God knows where you're at. Just call unto the Lord and he will answer thee. He knows the rock bottom of your hurts. And if you give it to him, he slowly showed me how to crawl out of that pit. I wasn't suicidal or anything of that nature, but I was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I was struggling, and slowly, bit by bit, I began to come out of that. So, I thank God that my when God wants to use you, are you open to hearing the voice of God so you can hear someone else, or are your arteries clogged, or your spiritual pipes clogged, so that
great analogy,
you can't reach out to someone else. He wants us to be open so that we can help other people. So that is how this ministry pretty much got started. It wasn't anything that I would have chosen for myself.
Right.
So I would like to read it. It's a God thing. So God used me in that instance. And then there was other things along the way. But that's the initial start of this ministry. But
I'm
he used
guessing
me
that
so I can help others.
You have had so much impact just with your own story, individually with people, and then certainly through the book. But then walk us into actually founding officially the ministry.
Well, it was, I have to give a shout out also to my pastor's overseer, Samuel Hampton. The second is who I serve under at this time, but his father was pastor at the time that this ministry started. And his dad suggested to me, when I was working on my first sermon, and I was like, what? Sermon? I don't do that. That's not what I want to do. He said, it seems like you're writing a book. And I said, I was thinking the same thing. So I just kept going with the flow of it. And then, like I said, and before I knew it, there it was.
Yeah.
A total God thing.
Isn't it
was a
amazing?
God thing.
I mean, when you look back and say that, you kind of go, only God. Only God. Only you could
I
do
never
this.
thought about it.
Isn't
I
that-
never tried to write a book.
Yes.
That is not anything that I had in front of me.
Where can
but
we
it
get?
happened.
Where can we get the book?
You can get one of my books, which is called Packing for the Journey, Amazon.com.
Nice.
You can go online and get that. My first book you can actually get from me. You can reach me out at me on my website,
That's
Rima
the Help I'm
Cole.
Sick.
Yes,
Yes.
RimaCole.com. And I also have a workbook that goes along with that coincides with the workshop sessions that I do.
Will they all be here at Healing Hearts?
Yep. Yes.
Your books will be
The
there.
books will be there. I will bring my books and my materials, and you can purchase them at that time as well.
We're so excited to have just this little tidbit of excitement of what's going to be taking place on May 18th. And Renee, you're going to be singing. Now, we play on this station, Beauty and Brokenness, and you had an amazing story about that song and what it's done in people's lives.
Yeah, talk about healing hearts. I heard from a person who is an in-home, faith-based counselor. She works mostly with children, mostly foster adopted children, and works with them to get through their trauma. She had a particular client that she was working with who would not open up, and she suspected there were some deep things, couldn't get to the root of it, and therefore the process of healing, it just couldn't be addressed. She was on her way and praying, Lord, help me say or do the right thing so that this child will open up so we can begin to heal. And just as she was praying that, she had the radio on in the car on WMPQ, and Beauty and Brokenness came on. And she listened to the song, and the Lord said, play this song for your client, who's 12 years old. She went into the house, began the session with prayer, and she Googled Beauty and Brokenness, brought it up, played Beauty and Brokenness, and prayed. And the little girl opened up. She cried.
Wow.
And she poured out her story of some of the most unbelievable brokenness that a child or anyone could experience. And that day when that dam burst, now the healing can begin.
Yes, yes.
Amazing.
How awesome to know that you were his instrument in
you
reaching
imagine?
just that one life.
Well, I'm thinking about Rima,
Yes.
and I wish everybody understood that when you're in the middle of the fire, I think that sometimes that's when people just give up and walk away and they think God is mean. But actually what God is doing is preparing you for something greater, that you'll turn around and give a hand to walk somebody else out of the fire.
Yes, right.
And that's the greatest satisfaction in the world.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, where do we go to get register for Healing Hearts?
The conference, you can just come on the day of the event and pay at the door.
Awesome.
Also, can I just say, if you do not have $15, you can still come.
Okay.
And you can eat.
On us.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so awesome.
That's a
First
winner
of
right
all,
there.
Rima Cole and Renee Welsh, thank you so much for all you do in our community. Let's listen to it right now. Let's listen to Beauty and Brokenness here on The Light, 95.9.
I asked God to take me somewhere I'd never been, where I'd be rejoicing on a mountain with Him. He took me instead to a valley of despair, where I cried, oh God, why have you brought me here? He said, you must follow like never before. This road isn't easy, so lean on me more. I'm near when you're hurting us. I've been broken too. Hold tight to my hand, child. I'm walking with you, and there's beauty in brokenness, gain in a loss. There's light in the darkness, life in a cross. There's treasure in emptiness and power in weakness. Jesus is near, He's always right here. Oh, there's beauty in brokenness. There's beauty in brokenness, gain in a loss. There's light in the darkness, life in a cross. There's treasure in emptiness and power in weakness. Jesus is near, He's always right here, and there's beauty in brokenness. Oh, this road I would never choose, but I know someday He'll use my story to share. He's all there's beauty in brokenness. When it seems no one cares, He's always right there, and there's beauty